Get up. A blue gauntleted hand grasped the collar of the Marine's armor. Fate demands that you survive this battle. The white scar was violently jerked upwards and brought face to face with the cold green eyes of a Mark IV Achaean helmet. He recognized the legionary instantly. The blue and gold battle plate, the flaming Ouroboros, the witch runes scrolled all over his armor. Traitor! The word was filled with zealous contempt. That's no way to speak to the one saving your life. The Marine's chainsword roared to life, eager to remove the heretic's head where he stood. He lashed out, and the moment before he made contact, the world ceased to exist. For several seconds nothing could be seen but swirling colors and impossible shapes, and the screams of the damned drowned out all the noise. His weapon was gone. With gene-enhanced reflexes, he reached out for the bolt pistol maglocked to his hip. It was also missing. He took a moment to examine his surroundings. They were standing in an open plain. In the distance, mountains rose over the horizon. He recognized this place. Chigoris, his home world. What have you done? He turned to the legionnaire, to see him leaning on his staff and softly laughing to himself. I would figure introductions would be in order before we start making demands. My name is Anku, of the 15th. He extended a hand in a friendly manner. I am Ashgal, son of Yagatai. That's all you need to know, traitor, Anku sighed. I saved you from being torn apart by orcs, and this is how you treat me? Why did you steal me from my brothers, and why did you bring me here? Asgal gestured at the empty field around them. Anku removed his helmet and placed it on the ground beside him. The face beneath it was surprisingly free of mutation, despite what the Stormseer had told Asgal since his induction into the chapter. His face was tall and angular, with a strong jaw and sharp cheekbones. He had dark circles beneath his bright green eyes, making him look as if he had gone without sleep for some time. And as his helmet came off, it revealed a head of long black hair that fell past the Marine's shoulders. The only thing that betrayed his nature was the deep crimson of his skin. He turned to Asgal and smiled. Prophecy. That is why I saved you. And as for why I chose here, I figured you would enjoy the comforts of home. Prophecies, Asgal spat the word. If your legion didn't put such stock in witch sight and demonic whispers, you wouldn't have been enslaved to their ruinous powers. Then there was a ripple in the air. Anku gripped his staff, and his eyes flared with warp light. A crushing force wrapped around Asgal and lifted him from the ground. You know not of what you speak, Anku hissed. There was pain in his voice. Tell me, how long have you served your chapter, Asgal? Release me, the White Scar shouted, struggling to escape the sorcerer's grip. Answer me! The invisible coils grew tighter around Asgal's armor. Flesh and runes warned him of an imminent pressure breaching his armor. 72 years. The force was gone, and he fell to the ground with a crack of metal. He rose from his knees to meet Anku's gaze. I have served the chapter for 72 years. I see, the ignorance of youth. A look that seemed like pity crossed Anku's face. You should know that I was there 100 centuries ago. His voice was little more than a whisper, at risk of being carried off by the wind. I was there when the wolves burned my home. Asgal took a moment to reassess the situation. This was no recently augmented heretic born of stolen gen seed and clad in the colors of a legion that meant nothing to them. This was a veteran of 10,000 years, a legionnaire born during the Great Crusade, one who had most likely fought in the Siege of Holy Terror itself. These events were little more than ancient myth to Asgal, tales told in reverence by the chapter's Stormseers and passages held in ancient tomes deep within the fortress monastery. He was unarmed and at the mercy of a sorcerer of the Thousand Suns. He couldn't win in a direct fight. His only chance was to hope that he could get the traitor to drop his guard and kill him before he realized his mistake. Tell me more about this prophecy, Anku. I was wondering when you'd ask. The skeins of fate show an infinite number of futures, and in many of them you are pivotal in events to come. What do you mean? Fossex 5, one of your chapter's recruiting worlds, is in grave danger. Xenos slumber beneath the planet's surface, and soon they will be awakened by the unaware population. The world has little better than Stone Age technology, and if your chapter doesn't intervene... The sorcerer trailed off. We'll lose an entire recruiting world. Asgal knew the horrible consequences of such a loss. But why have you told me this? Why help your eternal enemy? Time's a-wasting, Asgal. The sorcerer looked wistfully towards the mountains in the distance. And for what it matters, I'm sorry. Asgard had no time to register what the Anku said before the world shattered around him. They were never in Chagoris. They had never left the spot where Anku had lifted him to his feet. The sorcerer's trickery had hidden him from the fighting. With growing horror, Asgard realized why. The battle was over. His brothers were dead. The orcs were driven off, but his tribe had paid with their lives. His Khan had given his life to slay the orc war boss, the two of them impaled on each other's weapons in death. He remembered Anku's words. Fate demands you survive this battle. He was the only survivor. The battlefield was littered with white and green corpses. The sorcerer had bought his life by letting his brothers die. The battle was done. He set his Vox to search for any nearby signals. He was determined to prevent similar losses at Fossix 5.